Okay, good morning, everyone. My today's topic is all about digestion. So digestion is the complex process of turning the food you eat into nutrients, which the body uses for energy, growth, and cell repair needed to survive. It is the breakdown of large insoluble food molecules into small water-soluble food molecules so that they can be absorbed into the watery blood plasma in certain organisms. These smaller substances are absorbed through the small intestine into the bloodstream. Digestion or catabolism is divided into two types: the mechanical digestion of food that occurs, in the mouth when it is physically broken. Into physically broken up into smaller pieces, and the chemical digestion that occurs in the gastrointestinal tract when the food is broken down into small molecules by the digestive system. With today's topic, we focus on lipolysis or the digestion of fats, because this is my topic. Okay. Digestion of fats, also known as lipolysis. Lipolysis is the process by which the triglyceride is removed from the lipid droplet, with the fat cells broken into 3 fatty acids and glycerol. The glycerol is secreted from the cells along with some but not all of the fatty acids. These are transported to the liver, where the glycerol may be converted to glucose. The fatty acids may be converted to ketones or transported to other cells and burned to produce ATP. Excuse me. Let's go to the absorption of lipids. Absorption of lipids involves hydrolysis of dietary fat in the lumen of the digestive of the intestine, followed by the uptake of hydrolyzed products by enterocytes. Lipids are resynthesized in the endoplasmic reticulum and are either secreted with chylomicrons and high-density lipoproteins or stored as cytoplasmic lipid droplets. Okay, let's take a look on the illustration of these processes. First, we eat fats, then we lingual lipase in our mouth, and then limited digestion in our stomach through gastric lipases. Then the digestion of fats really starts on the small intestine, and then it is transported through my cells, then absorbed by the epithelial, distributed to our blood vessels. Okay. Let's take a look on the step-by-step on this process. First, by eating the fats, we are digested it in our mouth through mechanical digestion, remastication, swallowing, mixing with saliva, and limited enzymatic digestion with the help of a lingual lipase. Then after mechanical digestion, the fats that we eat enter into our stomach. Then the chemical digestion started there, limited enzymatic digestion, but the fats that we eat cannot digested in our stomach. Why? Because our stomach is very acidic. So that's why the fats cannot digested or absorbed in that particular part of our digestive system. The digestion of fats started in our small intestine upon entering to the first part of our intestine called duodenum. Okay, let's take a closer look on this. Small intestine starts with digestion of fats or lipolysis through emulsification through the bile salt, enzymatic digestion to pancreatic lipases and colipase, and then absorption with the help of micelles. Okay, let's take a look on the step-by-step processes of this digestion of lipids, or fats, or lipolysis in the small intestine. First, the fats entered into our the small intestine in the duodenum. Because of the watery nature of the lumen of our intestine, the fats refill its and cannot absorb and cannot be broken by its by the digestion. Instead, because of the nature of the fats, it is a hydrophobic, which means cannot interact with the water. The small fats created as larger fat droplets, or what we call this is a fat globules. Then in the fat globules, the fats is mainly created by triglycerides, cholesterol, and phospholipids. Then these fats, before it can digest, they need to emulsify. So how can this be happen? The emulsification process is done by the help of the bile salt. The bile salt is needed for the emulsification of the fats. For example, if we have fats in our pan, if we are washing our pan, then we need to dissolve the fats using the detergent. In this case, the detergent in our intestine is the bile. So how can bile started secreting when the fats entered in our small intestine, or in the first part of the intestine called the duodenum? First, upon entering the small intestine, the fat globules enter and touch the cells called enteroendocrine. This enteroendocrine stimulate the secretion of hormones secretin and CCK, or the cholecystokinin. Chole means gallbladder, kinin means squeeze. With these hormones, the CCK, or the cholecystokinin, stimulate the gallbladder and squeeze to produce bile. By the way, the bile is composed of three major parts. First, the water, of course. Then the cholesterol, the cholesterol, and the bile salt, which is the most important in this topic. We will focus on the bile salt. Excuse me. So this bile salt is necessary for the emulsification of fats. This is the typical detergent in our intestine to dissolve the big fat globules into a small fat droplets. And after that, the emulsification, the fats will be surrounded by the bile salt. These spikes around that fat. Okay. Sorry. Naubo ako. And then after that, our pancreas, through the help of the hormone secretin, secretes a pancreatic lipase, colipase, and bicarbonate. Why bicarbonate? Because of the nature of our stomach and our intestine, the pH there is very low, so it is acidic. So our pancreas secretes bicarbonate to increase the pH of our intestine, of that fats. So that the pH in our intestine is neutral. So we need to neutralize the pH before it can be digested. Because if not neutralized, if it is acidic, we cannot dissolve or digest the fats, and it will go to our large intestine and we are going to diarrhea. So that's why some of us suffer diarrhea because of ingesting some fats, but our body cannot digest it because our intestinal and stomach is very acidic. So that's why our pancreas secretes bicarbonate to neutralize the acid, the pH of our intestine. Okay. So after neutralizing the pH and secreting pancreatic lipase and colipase, this pancreatic lipase and colipase digest the triglyceride. The triglyceride means 3 fatty acids with a backbone of glycerol. Okay. In this process, the digestion of triglyceride, this fatty acid here is chopped by the help of the pancreatic lipase, and the third fatty acid is chopped off again by our pancreatic lipase and colipase. So we produce either 2 fatty acids or 3 fatty acids. And 2 fatty acids and 1 monoglyceride, or 3 fatty acids and 1 glycerol. Okay. So this digestion, after this digestion, it can now absorb by our epithelial through the help of micelles. But these fatty acids are surrounded with the bile salt. This bile salt serves as a protection to the fatty acids so that it cannot go back into large fat globules. So after this, the digestion of triglyceride into smaller fatty acids, it will enter into our epithelial. So fatty acids and monoglycerides leave micelles and enter into epithelial cells here. Okay. So our lumen pushes the bile salt outside and absorb the fatty acids, monoglycerides, cholesterols, and phospholipids. So the bile salt is pushed out and it cannot absorb. So only that fatty acids, cholesterol, and phospholipids can absorb by our epithelial. Then the fatty acids link to form triglyceride again into a Golgi apparatus. Then the third step, the absorption of product of that fat digestion depends on the sizes because of the short and medium chain, long chain fatty acids, and monoglyceride to form glycerides and are transported in chylomicrons into lymph B cells. Okay. Those the fatty globules combine with proteins to form chylomicrons. Just what I said a while ago. Okay, inside the Golgi apparatus. Okay. Then the chylomicrons are extruded from the epithelial cells and enter a lacteal in our lymph capillary. Then the lymph in the lacteal transports chylomicrons away from the intestine into our blood vessels to absorb by our body in excuse me. Either it were absorbed by our skeletal muscles or our adipocytes. If it is absorbed by our skeletal muscle, it is used as an energy or ATP, converted to ATP and use it as an energy. If it is transported into adipocytes, it will stored as a it is for storage in our adipocytes. Okay. Let's take a look on in the composition of the chylomicrons. The chylomicrons transports lipids from the small intestine to the bloodstream. That's what I said a while ago. These chylomicrons transported to our bloodstream. It will then distributed into different parts of our body, either in our skeletal muscle or in our adipocytes. So the composition of these chylomicrons is composed of, in the inner part, it is composed of triglyceride, cholesterol, and embedded with apolipoproteins, which is called specifically the ApoB48 proteins, which is the most important proteins in the chylomicrons. Okay, and then surrounded with the phospholipid. Then, if you take a closer look, this is the cup of the phospholipid. Its head is pointing out outside, and the tip is pointing inside, so that it can create a substance called chylomicrons. So chylomicrons are a type of lipoproteins. We have different types of lipoproteins: chylomicrons, VLDL, or the very low density lipoproteins, LDL, or the low density lipoprotein. It is excuse LDL is known to be a bad cholesterol because its nature is LDL is like to distribute cholesterol in our different parts of our body, particularly in our blood vessels. So it causes cardiac problem in our body if we have high LDL in our body, okay, in our blood. Then we have the HDL, which is the good cholesterol, because it is a high density lipoproteins, so it carries only small amount of cholesterol. And this HDL transported the remaining cholesterol back to our liver to resynthesize it again for the use again, and the other will go to our waste, and the other will be used by our body. So that is a digestion of fats or lipolysis and the absorption of the lipids. Okay, let's take a recap, no, in this lipolysis or the digestion of fats. Okay. First, we eat fats, then digested in our mouth. For example, we eat hamburger, we digested it through our mouth, which is mechanical digestion and lingual lipase, and then entering into our stomach by the gas, and then chemical digestion started with the help of all acids in our body and some enzymes and or what we call gastric lipases. Then after digested in our stomach, the fats cannot digested there. So it needs to enter in our duodenum, or the first part of our small intestine. And then with the help of bile salts, it is emulsified because of the nature of the fats. because the nature of the fats is the hydrophobic, cannot interact with the water, it will create a big fat globules. So with the help of bile salts, it will dissolve. This bile salt serves as our detergent in our intestine to dissolve the big fat globules into small fat droplets. And then our pancreas secretes three important substances there. First is our lipase, pancreatic lipase, our colipase, and our bicarbonate. Bicarbonate is used to hide the pH to neutralize the acidity of our intestine so that we can digest the fats. Then after it is neutralized, it will digested our triglyceride, our fats or the triglyceride digested with the help of colipase and the pancreatic lipase. This colipase grabbing the lipase and digested the triglyceride into 3 fatty acids and glycerol, or 2 fatty acids and monoglyceride. Depends on the reaction of the fats. Okay? And then it is transported and absorbed through micelles here. And then the micelles enter into it will transported to absorb in our epithelial cells, but these micelles surrounded by the bile salt and our epithelial cell, there is a certain what is, I think, sodium. It is pushes the bile salt and absorbing the fatty acids that we are digested a while ago, and cholesterol and phospholipids. And then these phospholipids entering in our Golgi apparatus and package it again in our mitochondria to form chylomicrons that will transported into our blood vessels and distributed to our different parts of the bodies, either skeletal muscles or in our adipocytes. So that's the digestion and digestion of fats, or the lipolysis, and the absorption of lipids. So that's it for my report in the digestion and lipolysis. Thank you.